Welcome back to CA 121. Here we are going to see how to complete the Chapter 7 grader. So first, let's go ahead and we'll open up our grader. It wants us to display the second worksheet, and it wants me to complete this what's called a two-variable data table. Now, two-variable data table is not your normal data table. This is part of your data tab, your what-if analysis. In order to complete a two-variable data table, the first thing that you have to do is to input an equation in this upper left-hand corner of it. In this case, we want to input in a formula that links my variables, at the very least number of payments and rates, to create this two-variable data table. So in this case, I want to create a payment function to determine what is the monthly payment for a loan of $975,000 for 120 months, which is 10 years, at a 5.25% annual interest rate. So as soon as I start the payment function, it asks me for the rate. So I'm going to click on that, but I'm going to divide by 12 because I want to know the monthly payments, so the interest rate must also be months. The number of periods is 120. The present value is the amount of the loan. And then I'm going to close parentheses, press enter. It's negative right now, so it says, hey, make it a positive function by adding a negative, basically multiplying by a negative, and it turns that positive. Once you have put in that formula, then you can highlight the two-variable data table. You have to highlight it. You go to your data tab, go to what if analysis, go to data table. For your row input, that is going to be, your number of monthly payment, your monthly payments, which is here. And for your column, that is your interest rate, which is here. I don't need to divide this by 12 because I already divided by 12 in my formula. So I press OK. And I always get the rows in the column input mixed up, so I always have to check. Okay, so to check if you're correct, you go to 120 and 5.25%. You know that for a period of 120 months and 5.25% interest rate, that your monthly payment should be approximately $10,460. So 120, they don't have 5.25, but they're close. Are these numbers close to the 10,400? Yes, they are. So I know I didn't flip them. If I had flipped them, the numbers would be way off, and you'd be like, oh, okay, I just need to flip them back. Next thing they want to do is they want us to apply the, the currency cell style. So currency cell style, let's go home. We're going to apply, we can either go here and find currency, or we could go here and do currency at the bottom here. Currency cell style, and it wants me to click on D16. So we're assuming, hey, we can't afford any more than 10,000, so we need to pick the option that is closest to 10,000 but less than, and highlight that using the note cell style. Right, so far so good. Next it says to go to the job information worksheet, and it says that I want to select A4 through C11, and I want to sort it in ascending order. So remember, I can either convert this into a data table and then sort, or I can just do a sort without converting into a data table. So I have to highlight it all. I'm going to say sort by job code. If these don't show up, it might be because you forgot to highlight A4, or because you don't have my data has headers on. So we're going to sort by job code in ascending order. Press OK. And a key is you have to highlight the entire table. Otherwise, it thinks that this is your table and it'll only sort these, and these will remain the same, and everything will be messed up. So make sure you highlight the whole thing. Then it says click on A4 through A11 and name that job code. So I'm going to name that range job code, probably because I'm going to use that named range at some other point in time. To make sure that you have named it correctly, you can click outside, then re-highlight it, and it should now say job code. Next, we're going to go to the staffing plan worksheet, and we are going to do a data validation. So we're saying, hey, here is a worksheet. I only want these cells right here to have the job codes that I listed here. I don't want to allow for any typos. So I'm going to highlight the area that I want validated. I'm going to go to the data tab. I'm going to click on data validation. And I'm going to say, hey, I want a list. For me, when I do that, it won't let me click equal to. So I kind of play around with it. I say, okay, I'm going to click on something that allows me to click equal to and then go back to list. The source is going to be job code. Don't just type in job code. You have to put equals job underscore code. Capitalization doesn't really matter. I press OK. If I did it correctly, then I should be able to click on this. It should have a drop-down button for the different job codes. And now if I type in something that's not on the list, then it'll say, hey, you can't do that. Now it wants us to pick the job MMG. And it wants us to create what's called a VLOOKUP for the job code MMG. So what this does is it automatically inputs whatever job code you have. It will automatically input the description and what else is in this table, salary. So instead of me having to look up this table and say, okay, MMG is manager at 75,000, I'm going to create a VLOOKUP that will automatically look at this table and say input manager and the 75,000. So because my data is in vertical columns, I'm going to do what's called a VLOOKUP. So I'm going to say equals VLOOKUP. My lookup value is this job code right here. My table array. Let's make sure that they don't specify. Sometimes they're very picky. Okay, they don't specify which table array, so I'm going to just go to job information and I'm going to highlight everything. I could start at A4 or A5. It really doesn't matter. And I'm going to make sure to press F4 to make it absolute reference so I can use that equation all the way down. My column index, I have to remember what column the description was, and that was column 2. And my range lookup, this is very important. I want an exact match. Otherwise, it'll default to approximate. So what it might do is if I say true, so right now it's saying manager, but if I say true here, then it might give me assistant manager because they both start with M. So I generally want an exact match. Okay. All right, salary is very similar, so I'm going to do equals VLOOKUP. I'm going to say, hey, I want you to look at the job code. I want you to look up this table array. And salary, you notice, is in the first, second, third column. I'm going to press F4. Oops. You see how it says staffing plan now? It messed up the worksheet, so I have to go back. I want it to say job information, re-highlight it, press F4. Column, the column is the third column. And I want it to say false. Okay, now I'm going to use that all the way down. It'll say NA because it doesn't have any job code to read. Right now we're in step 9. It says beginning in cell A10. They want us to write in the cash. I'm just going to use the drop down CCSA and MAMG. For number of positions, 313. I must have missed a step. How many managers am I looking for? 1 is the number of positions. That was from step 7. And management is type. Here they want me to write in, oops, sorry about that. Cashier. says delete any unused rows between this last item and the total row. So I'm gonna remember to delete rows, you have to highlight the numbers on the left hand side. And I'm gonna right click, press delete. Oops, I missed one row. Let's delete that one. Sum the budget amount, so I'm gonna say equals sum, and sum all this right here. And apply the total cell style. So I'm going to go to home and I'm going to say, hey, I want that to look kind of fancy, so I'm going to use the total cell style. Next, they want me to do some error checking. So, you know, some of these cells have some weird looking things on them. It's because that cell has said, something might be wrong with the equation in this cell. Something might be wrong because it's not like the others. So a cell has a built-in feature that says, maybe you should check this. So we're going to go to the bracelet revenue worksheet and click on cell I5, which happens to have one of those weird looking things right there. That's just saying, hey, you might want to take a look at this. We're going to go to trace precedence, which is on the review tab. No, maybe the formula tab. Yeah, on the formula tab. So I'm going to go to trace precedence, and that's just saying, hey, I want to show where is this number coming from. And you say, okay, beaded bracelets, that looks good. And the growth amount is coming from crystal bracelets. That doesn't work out very well, so I might, what do they say? They want me to do error checking. Well, technically I could just change this to the next one down, or, sorry, I can click on this, and I could say, edit formula bar, and I just want to change this to beaded bracelets, since this is beaded bracelets all the way across. And then I'm going to press resume. All right, and then it takes me to the next error that it thinks that I might have, because look, it doesn't even have anything. So I might say, hey, help on this error. Oops, no. That's not what I want to do. I might say, so I have help. I can show calculation steps in order, or I'm going to just edit it. I'm going to say, oh, that shouldn't be dividing by 10. It should be dividing by the 9. And then press resume. That's for F7. So we're in step 13. It says to examine the error and then click copy formula from above. So here it says copy formula for above. Is that always an option? No, but in this case it is an option. So I'm going to take the easy route and just say copy from above. Now it says look at J8 and then click copy formula from left. So copy formula from left is available. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to say okay because all of my errors have been checked. I'm going to look at this. It looks a little bit weird right here. Look, this is no longer a percentage, so I might say, hey, I'm going to go to home, use my format painter, and apply that percentage there so that they all look like percentages. Lastly, they want me to do a match function. So they want to know, okay, where is the word sports bracelets? So sports bracelets is under specialty. So sports bracelets is there, but it wants us to know where exactly is that location. So I'm going to use a match function, equals match. I want to look up sports bracelets. So I'm just, since it's already written there, I'm just going to highlight it, or I could type in sports bracelets in quotation marks. Lookup array. So for match function, your lookup array has to always be either the row or the column, but it can't be this entire area. If I do that entire area, it's not going to work. So it has to be in either the row that you see sports bracelets, which would be here. So I could either highlight that, or I could highlight the column here. Okay, in this case, they want me to highlight the column. So I did that, column, and I am going to do an exact match. Press enter. 8. So let's make sure that makes sense. So this is 1, since that's where I started highlighting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that sports bracelets? Yes. So it's gonna always look for the first one that it sees if there's multiple ones. Okay. Okay, so this next one is really tricky. I'm gonna do it kind of piece by piece and then put the pieces together. So first I'm just gonna do it as just an index function right here. So if I do just an index, it says, hey, look up this, what you've just done. So look up column 8, this position 8 for sports bracelets, and give me what the designer name, which is in column A. Really, this would be a better VLOOKUP, right? You could say, hey, VLOOKUP sports bracelets, and give me column 1. It would be so much easier. But no, they want us to use an index function. So I'm going to say equals index. So I'm going to say, hey, look in this whole area. This is my array. So I'm going to do either an array or a reference. This is an array, since it's a range of cells. I'm going to say, give me the row number. Well, didn't we just figure that out? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 was sports bracelets. So I'm just going to reference that for now. And then column number is, what do you want me to return? Do you want me to return the first column, the second column, third column, fourth column? Very similar to a VLOOKUP. And where would I find the designer name? Well, that would be column 1. And when I press enter, I hope and pray that it says Ana Hernandez, which is the designer of sports bracelets. So that is not the nested function that they want. That is how I would do it if I were doing the single function, but it wants a nested function. So it wants me to do an index and match function. So we go back and I go, okay, well, when did we use a match function? We used a match function to come up with the row number. So instead of referencing B2, which is where I did a match function, I'm going to just basically copy what I did there. So I'm going to say match. I'm going to say I want to look up sports bracelets in this table array. So I'm basically copying what I did in the previous step. And I want it to be exact, close parentheses, and I'm done. So basically all I did was I backtracked and I got rid of the B2, and I just entered in the match function that I entered in there. And you should still be able to get Ana Hernandez. Now we're going to do some page setup items. We're going to click on all of these. So we're going to say select all sheets. We're going to go to page setup. I'm going to expand it, and it says to have the margin, center them horizontally. So I'm reading, create a custom footer with a file and the sheet name. I'm gonna go custom footer, file name here, sheet name here, press OK. Right click on the sheet tab and then click ungroup sheets, okay? So I'm gonna press OK. I did everything I wanted to do while they were grouped, so that did it to all the sheets. So now I can just click on ungroup or click on one of them until just one sheet is highlighted. It says display the warehouse payment table worksheet, which is that second one. And then set the sheet's orientation to landscape. So I'm going to go to orientation, landscape. Wants me to go to bracelet revenue sheets and set the orientation to landscape. And then the scale to fit set to 95%. So right here, I could either do it here or I could expand it and do it here, 95%. Press OK, and then for the designers, I also want that to be landscape. There we go. Then it wants me to display the backstage view. So I'm on step 16, display the backstage view. That basically says just go here. I'm going to go to info, which is the backstage items, and for the subject box, or sorry, the tags, staffing, plan, comma, bracelet, ribbon. And for the subject, I have to go to show more. CA 121, it doesn't really matter what you type there, just as long as you type in something. Make sure that your name is listed as an author. Oops. If it's not, you just add your name. And then it says, hey, look through all of your worksheets. So maybe we'll use print preview. We'll go to entire workbook and we'll scroll through them and make sure that, hey, are the ones that we wanted orientation changed the way that we wanted, okay? With the proper footer and all that good stuff. Alright, so hopefully this was helpful in completing the Chapter 7 grader. And if you need more help in understanding the different things that we talked about, you might want to watch the Chapter 7 vocabulary video. Have a good day.